Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the morning recording. You know what today is. Today's Tuesday, November 8th. Today's the election day. Today's the day that people will convince themselves that they're choosing the next president of the United States. Presidential election is nothing more than an appointment of a figurehead, in my opinion, but that shouldn't stop you from carrying out your actions in life passionately and all that. Like I said yesterday, I don't have all the answers. Uh, all I know is that it's going to be an interesting next couple of days, couple of weeks, and probably couple of years. We're in weird times in the world, with the growth of technological advancements, as well as the way the political scene is going in this world, the way people's views and thoughts in the world are going. Um, if you're not down with a certain political agenda, you may have the next couple of years be pretty rough for you. I feel like, but regardless, we should live every day like we mean it, like we love it, and we should try to change the world with our love every day. So, with that, the polls have already opened hours ago on the East Coast, just opening up here on the West Coast. They're saying that Trump needs to win a couple of key states in order to win this thing. Blah 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 blah. Ohio, New Hampshire, etc. So we'll see how he does today and how Hillary does and whoever gets in, if it really makes a bit of a damn difference. Probably not, but you never know. The WikiLeaks shit just keeps on developing. Looks like there was email found connecting the Clinton campaign chair John Podesta, Tony Podesta, a well-known lobbyist in Washington, D.C.'s brother, invited to dinner at this lady's house, Marina Abramovic. And she is a well-known artist, performance arts. She for years in certain groups has been known for having displays of art that are pretty radical. She's been known to take her own menstrual blood, which sounds fucking crazy already. Her own menstrual blood mixed with semen from who knows where. Semen, and writing sayings that don't mean much to the average person on random walls. Looks like, I don't know if it's in a home or something. I saw some pictures. And they're saying that people, and if you go to liberal websites, they'll say that it's just an expression of her artwork. If you go to conservative websites, they'll tell you that it's actually an occult sex magic ritual where she's attempting to turn the physical matter of that mixture into metaphysical energy in order to feed spirits that help grant the people in power and stuff like that. And it's odd when you're the one who's known for pushing the boundaries of possibilities of what could possibly be going on in the world, and then when you start hearing people who would usually never give anything, like the things I talk about, very much thought, even things that are very just plain fact, like the way our economic system is and the way the justice system is flawed and things like that. Those people are talking about this. They're engaging in this conversation about whether it's just art or if it's some sort of occult magic ritual where she's connecting with what the Christian crowd would call demons, maybe what the more scientific crowd would call like maybe interdimensional beings, something like that. This, you know, it's being acknowledged by mainstream media outlets. You can read about this, you know, on just about any website. They just give it one spin or another to it. You guys let me know what you think. Is Marina Abramovic's actions artwork, or is it some sort of occult sex magic ritual where elite people take place in order to help feed spirits around them in return for granting them some power? This goes just about hand in hand with the thought process of like a lot of there's a YouTuber, the End Times Report, who has a series of videos who talks about the Hollywood pedophile cult and like the politicians that are pedophiles and them abusing children in order to please what they call, again, demons, to in return receive power in this realm of existence, or influence, things like that. So like there's been people talking about this sort of action for a long time. Sex magic, Aleister Crowley type rituals. There's been people spreading, whether it's information or whether it's fantasy, for a long time. It's just the first time I've ever witnessed it being talked about on news outlets, on TV, being written about online. I don't, haven't come across a written newspaper that I've read for quite a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's an article or two out there, maybe in the Washington Times or in the New York Post or something like that in regards to this situation. So not veering too far off of the Weirdo Express here. There's been there was flight logs obtained back in January of 2015 of the Lolita Express, the plane owned by a gentleman named, probably not a gentleman, but an individual named Jeffrey Epstein, who owns an island. He's a billionaire. He owns an island, and he flies other rich people out to this island to have massive orgies with underage kids and with victims of horrific sex crimes and things like that. I guess Bill Clinton's name was found in those flight logs over a dozen times. So that's pretty solid proof right there. Like the first thing we're talking about, like the sex magic, that, there's room for interpretation there. But this other one, like he put his fucking name down on the flight log. You know what I'm saying? And the guy's Jeffrey Epstein's even though it's for prostitution, he's a convicted sex. He's convicted sex criminal. So this is getting pretty murky for the Clinton side here. Anyways, like all of the bad press that Trump got for all of the grabbing pussies back in the day and treating women like they're sex objects and yada yada yada, that's all like kind of feels dwarfed by this situation. Like you start talking about people who are willing to trade the innocence of children for their own selfish motives. I mean, that's as disgusting as it gets right there. And these are people that are celebrated. These are people that are on TV smiling like they don't even give a fuck. Like this morning, Hillary and Bill, man, They're just out there putting their vote in, and Bill's just like he's never done anything horrific in his life before. I'm sorry I keep using that word, but that's the most accurate word I can use to describe him being flown out to an island full of kids that couldn't escape if they wanted to. They're on a fucking island surrounded by rich, disgusting people having their way with them all day and trying to steal their fucking souls. Those kids are fighting to keep their souls, like to keep themselves intact out there, like to not just, in the future, even if they get out of that situation somehow, like when they're older, like obviously these people probably get tired. They probably don't keep them around once they get to a certain age. Who knows what happens to them? Like whether they somehow go back into regular society somehow, like they just drop them off in the middle of a fucking city with nothing and they just go be homeless or go prostitute there because that's all they fucking know how to do, or whatever happens to these kids. Like they're subjected to like critically traumatic experiences out there, experiences that could shatter your one psyche, where they have to compartmentalize all of those atrocities that were acted out against them in one part of their mind, and then live in other parts of their mind in order to be able to like rationalize even wanting to live. Like people probably more than anything are being desensitized with the idea right now that that the people that rule this world are okay with this kind of behavior, and when people become desensitized to things, they become more accepting of its presence around them, which is scary. So with the existence of like organizations like NAMBA, the National Association of Man Boy Love, or whatever the fuck it is, like the most disgusting organization on earth, like them and a few other organizations that have existed in this Earth's history can all fall into a bottomless pit of fucking fire and brimstone for all I'm fucking concerned, man. Like, it's pretty disgusting. So, like, that's the scary thing about the civil rights movement is, like, it went from something that was valid, like, really, really valid, like, truly valid, like, all the way where people, like, it shouldn't, like, matter what skin color you have. That shouldn't be what background, what ethnicity you are, what what color pigment your skin is, those sort of things. Those shouldn't dictate any sort of path in your life. Like, you should have an open path regardless of your most external features, because your most external features are the least important of your whole existence. And if one's thought process is focused solely on another's most external feature as the thing that they weigh another person's like, which shapes their perception of another person, then you're not really reaching the levels of expanded consciousness that you were intended to in this earth. And if that's the crescendo of your thought process is someone's skin color, you're never going to change the world, and you're probably not going to make too many discoveries while you're here, and you're probably going to be chasing your tail with the same thought in your mind, in different shapes and forms of that same thought for your whole life. So yeah, this whole thing is pretty intense. And yeah, it's all crazy, man. So people, probably all you people are out there voting. A lot of you people are out there voting right now. A lot of you people who felt the burn, and then were faced with the decision to continue to put your vote into the system even after they showed you that it literally didn't matter, your opinion didn't matter, and that they could just take the wind right out of your favorite guy, Bernie Sanders' sails, and give it to Hillary right in front of your face. Just fucking hijack the wind from him and give it to her. And then you're still going to convince yourself that what you do matters in this rigged bullshit. So you had to sit down and think about it long and hard. And what you did was you convinced yourself that the other guy was so scary that even she was the lesser of those two evils, and you're choosing lesser of two evils, which means that you're never really choosing something that will benefit you or your family or any other people's family that really needs it. These people that are on TV, their families don't need help. Their families are already well off. You need to be thinking about the people who aren't on TV. You need to be thinking about the people who are sleeping in your own homes and in the homes next to you that are all going to be in possibly a very compromised position if the division in this country and in this world divides any further. It's absolutely critical that we stand up for ourselves, and we're not apathetic. I know they're putting fluoride in your water, but come on now. You don't believe that it affects you, so don't let it affect you, and let's stand up and let's do something about this. But yeah, so talking about some pretty serious shit. I apologize if I seem like I'm all over the place today. It's just like I don't even know why I'm delving into this, because I know that it's all a masquerade, it's all a theater, but it just blows my mind that these people, when you have hunches about people being horrible, but when you actually find out that they could possibly be helping to molest and rape children, it could be helping to bring sex slaves into this country, or could be contributing to the sex slavery of kids in other countries, and people want to talk there's this dissonance in all of our minds. We've been taught that slavery ended already, and that we fought that already, and that's what the Civil War was about, and that slavery's non-existent. But the fact is that the forms of slavery that exist today are just as perverted, if not more perverted, than they were back then. There's two forms of slavery, multiple forms of slavery happening today. There's, the sexual slavery, children being sold as sex slaves and as just slaves, maybe still housekeeping and stuff like that. Who knows? But predominantly sex slaves and things like that from third world countries and things like that. And then and that's a direct form of slavery. It's, that's the deepest in the shadows form of criminal behavior that exists in the world. It's absolutely disgusting. And so then there's also indirect slavery. For the average person, they don't realize that their relationship, at their job with their employer, that's a slave master relationship. You wear a tie to work every day. The tie, the symbology behind a tie is that it's a cattle toe, and it's meant for a boss or an employer or a master to guide his livestock by, or his slave by. So that's just one little tiny example of one thing you probably have never thought about before. But yeah, your job, your boss is another word for master. And the thing about it is that back in the day, in the 1800s, if you were a slave and if you've somehow had a chance one-on-one with the slave master and you had an angle on him and you had some sort of weapon or something, you could just you could take his life and you could run away and you could have a chance at freedom. And because in my mind, let's just get this out in the open. Like anyone who is openly willing to place other people in slavery, like that's essentially taking someone's life without killing them. So it's pretty much eye for an eye, in my opinion. If somebody were to get murdered, if they were a slave master. So just so you guys understand that there. I think that so anyway, so that person back in the 1800s, if they were a slave, they could have an opportunity, they could run off the farm or whatever. Now, what it is it's indirect slavery. You work 40 hours a week to barely be able to take care of your home. You can't really make enough to do the things that you want to be able to do with your life. You have to spend the majority of the time away from your loved ones, doing whatever job for barely enough income or, fiat currency that you can get. And then you absolutely have zero freedom when you're at that employer. You have to think the way they think. If you don't shape your thought processes to fit their mold while you're there, they will notice very quickly and they'll get rid of you very quickly. It's happened to me. I've had very many successful job positions at with companies in my life at my level, like coming from the background that I come from. Never had a silver spoon in my mouth, man. So I had to fight for everything that I had. So the times that when I was younger and I was willing to, I didn't even understand this at that time, but I just kind of willingly shaped my thoughts to, I thought there was something wrong with me, that I needed to change myself in order to fit in at these places. And so that's what I tried to do. And in the times that I've been able to do that in my life, I've had success with companies and things like that. And they've wanted to promote me very quickly and things like that. But as soon as I started to have the revelation that these people don't want me, they don't want Jerry, that they want the shell of Jerry with the internal programming of whatever makes their company consistent and successful. And I understand that that's business, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's just business. I understand that. But being personally as a human being, I wasn't put here to give up who I am. Who I am is how I'm going to accomplish the goals that I was set out to accomplish while I'm here. So once I understood that, it's been an up and down ride for me working for companies, because I'm just can't set myself aside for them. I just can't give up my right to speak freely to them, to be a human being. And when it comes to an interaction that's a verbal communication between me and someone that feels like they know better than me because they're supposed to be my boss, my authority, it ends bad because I make my points and they don't like it, and they tell me that they'll, no longer be needing my services. Or if I'm, there's been a couple situations, and I was, and I've had immature moments in my life, lots of moments where I should have handled things differently than I did. But, we're all just, if one situation where I felt like I was dealing with a whole group of people that had poisonous thoughts about one other crew member, I put them all on blast and told them all to fuck off and called the men outside, and they never came outside, and I left. And, I'm not proud of that, but, we got to stand up for who we are. And if you're being put in a situation where people are assuming that you're going to change yourself for them, or that you're in some boat with them, that something that you don't represent, and you feel maybe they're being harmful to someone, feel free to fucking put them on blast. Put those motherfuckers on blast. The people that are hurting other people verbally, emotionally, physically, put them on blast. Don't become a part of the conspiracy of silence. If you're just watching it and you're not doing shit about it, you're helping. Basically, is how I feel about that. Yeah. So, anyways, master-slave relationship. Corporations, everything's compartmentalized. There's, an order of authority there. It starts out at the bottom level with just an associate at a, working at maybe, a physical store location somewhere, an office somewhere. They have their immediate boss, and then their immediate boss usually takes orders from either someone who runs that store as a whole, like a general manager, a store manager, or like an office manager. And then that office manager or that store manager, that general manager, they take their orders from someone that's off location, who's making decisions based off of black and white information, and not thinking about the human beings themselves and all of the gray matter that compose us. So, and then that person's taking orders from someone else somewhere else, and then you go all the way up the line. And then the thing about a corporation is that they're considered a person as far as, a legal entity goes, but they can't be held accountable for any criminal activity or any wrongdoings that these corporations do. So they're ran by, committee. And then those, those people, the CEOs or people, the chairman, people on the board, they're not held accountable because they're not the corporation itself. So it's a loophole that was designed by the people who were spurring on the Industrial Revolution. The industrialization era, I apologize. So they created the corporation after the Civil War, and then so that's how people have been getting along, getting by ever since, is by being employed by these corporations, being taken advantage of, and then the corporation is never held accountable. So it's just like how the slave master was never held accountable, until it ended with the Abraham Lincoln and Civil War and all that. But the Civil War was, and you could call me whatever the fuck you want to call me, but the Civil War was just as much about industry as it was about the social topic of slavery. And the industrialization of this country is the proof in the pudding of that. And the fact that you're still owned and controlled by someone because you work for them, someone that you could never, if you had a dispute, you could never take it all the way to the top, because there is nobody at the tippy top, and you won't even get close to the people that are on the board. So your side will never be worth as much as theirs while you're there. So you're stuffing down like your own happiness, the love in your heart, your own creativity, your own critical thinking, your own everything for them. You're just, they have their hand slid far up your asshole and basically are controlling your actions. And I'm just not down with that. It's indirect slavery as far as I'm concerned. And then the added bonus of the income tax is like, call me a fucking slave while I work for you, I guess. Don't call me an employee, man. Like, call me a fucking slave while I work for you. That's how I feel. And so that's why I'm not employed by anybody anymore. And that's why I personally don't feel like I ever want to be employed by another company anymore. I have 15 years. I'm in my 30s, my early 30s. I have 15 years of working under my belt for various companies who promised me promotions and this and that. And it was a carrot dangling in front of me the whole time, and I never got anywhere. And people keep telling me I need to get back on that track. And I'm telling them, that track never got me anywhere anyway. It was an illusion. It got me from one step over the lava to another step over the lava, and that's it. That's where that got me. So this is what I'm truly meant to do. I'm a creative soul, and I need to express myself in these ways. I need to create artwork for people to observe, to gain enjoyment from, to gain knowledge from, to remember to love each other from. Like, that's what I was meant to do. I was meant to shake it up. I wasn't meant to live my life like I'm just a mechanical process. And that's all it comes down to. And I'm okay with that. And, I know and I have faith in myself that I am the one who's been controlling my destiny this whole time, not these corporations, and that I need to have faith in myself that I'm still alive after 30-something years, and that I'm still here and relevant in my own life, and I'm not, I haven't been beaten down by this thing. So I need to have faith in myself that I've done that for myself, and that it wasn't some indirect slave master who did it for me. So my creative endeavors are going to pan out for me and take care of me in this life, in this universe, because that was what I was meant to do. And so I know that. So it's a slow rolling ball. You guys are just seeing the beginning of this thing. And your support, subscribing on Critically Creative Entertainment on YouTube, subscribing, or following me rather on SoundCloud. I just got my SoundCloud account up yesterday. Critically Creative Entertainment on SoundCloud, following me on there. And then from there, it has links to my YouTube, my Twitter, my Facebook, all the various sites that I'm using to spread my life goal here. So subscribing to all those different platforms will help me greatly. And I do appreciate anybody who is listening to this. These morning recordings are going to be a lot like morning ramblings of what I'm thinking about, and these are very raw here. So if anybody does find these entertaining or finds these engaging, that's great, man. That really makes my heart feel full. So on another note, or on a prior note, the first polls close, looks like, in just a little under 7 hours or so. And who knows what the fuck's gonna happen. I'm already high, you guys can already tell. Got my coffee right here. And it's a beautiful day out. It's overcast. It's overcast out a lot this time of year especially, but I have always loved overcast weather. There's just something magical feeling about it, something energetic about it in a different way. Direct sunlight, there's nothing like it, like just going outside and just closing your eyes and letting the sun hit your face and absorb through your face and through your body. I just love that feeling of absorbing that vitamin D, but there's something magical about an overcast or a rainy day. Something that makes me feel especially creative about those days, about doing some writing or talking about whatever comes to my mind on a podcast in the morning. So anyway, so last night, you guys are already all fucking paying attention to elections yourself, so I don't know if you guys, on a lighter note, last night there was a couple of different interesting things that happened in the sports world. So Steph Curry, you guys all know who he is, the point guard of the Golden State Warriors. He set the record again. I think he set it last year with 12 3-pointers in a single game, but he set the record again last night against the New Orleans Pelicans, and he hit 13 3-pointers. He used 13 for 17, I believe, and that is a ridiculous shooting percentage from outside of the arc. And it's just a ridiculous performance, and his ability to quickly fire off shots the way he does sets him apart from any other legendary three-point shooter that there ever has been, really, in my opinion, because he's definitely the best point guard 3-point, shot that we've ever seen. And as far as the other, 3-point badasses of all time, they all had jump shots that took a second to set up. The motion took longer than what Steph Curry's does. Steph Curry's is like he's like a Wild West gunslinger. He just pulls that thing off his fucking hip and bam, it's there. Like Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Steve Kerr. Point guard and him in his prime versus Steph in his prime in a 3-point and just like a 3-point shootout contest, like the one they do during All-Star break. That would probably be a pretty close contest, I imagine. But his jump shot was more elaborate than what Steph Curry's is. So his quick release, like if you guys have never played basketball before, his quick release gives him an ability to get that shot off in places that most other guys can't. And it gives the defender far less time to react and to get something get a hand in his face or to block the ball than normal. So Steph's dad taught him how to shoot like he does. Del Curry, great NBA player in his own right, but definitely passed off the skills and then some to his kids. Steph's brother, point guard for the Kings last season. I haven't been paying too much attention. I do believe he's still on the Kings this year, but yeah, both of those boys got mad skills, but Steph especially. Whew, he's on fire, man. He's always on fire. He lives on fire. Like on NBA Jam, you don't have to hit 3 shots to be on fire. He's already on fire, motherfucker. He woke up on fire. He brushes his teeth on fire. He fucking eats his Wheaties on fire. He does everything on fire, all day long on fire. Fucks his wife on fire. He's on fire. Smokes fire, probably. See, man. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, last night was also Monday Night Football. So, the Buffalo Bills and the Seahawks played last night. Seattle Seahawks, Buffalo Bills. Seattle beat them 31-25, but there was some controversy right before the half. The Bills were going for a field goal. Richard Sherman was playing on the special teams for the defense, and he was rushing off the edge. He took off early, was an offsides, and he hit Dan Carpenter's leg, the kicker of the Bills, pretty hard. And it was definitely egregious, you could tell. Richard Sherman made a pretty good excuse after the game, saying that he hit the ball, so he was allowed to hit the kicker. And then that's why he didn't get kicked out of the game for a flagrant foul. But after that, the refs had a hard time, I guess, getting the ball where it was supposed to be for the Bills to try to kick again. And the refs were standing over the ball until just about 5 seconds left on the play clock. And so the Bills got a delay of game, which pushed them back to like a 52-yard field goal. And then the dude missed the field goal. And so, I mean, that still would mean that the Seahawks, won by 3 points. But there was also various calls throughout the night where the Bills kind of got fucked, like, on some calls. Like, their receiver Woods, he caught a pass, and he got called for, like, taunting or whatever the fuck they call it nowadays. He basically just waved the ball after he caught the pass. And it's like, man, just let them play sometimes, Like, let them have a little character in their game. Like, just because that guy did that doesn't mean everybody's going to turn into Keyshawn Johnson and Terrell Owens from 10 years ago and fucking go all out every single time. So, anyway, definitely interesting night in the sporting world. Today's an interesting day. The next couple of days are going to be, who knows what the fuck's going to happen. It's the most intense, like, emotionally people have been, like, even more intense than when, like, George W. and Al Gore had their bullshit with the with the recount and all that stuff. Like, it's already, like, it's already boiled over farther than that. Like, right now, like, with these guys, like, the people are already on emotional edge even greater than that. And that was post-election, and this is, like, just the day of, and it's been escalating. And just, people, be safe. Remember that love is the most important thing. Taking care of your loved ones and other people taking care of their loved ones and helping each family take care of their loved ones is the most important thing. Don't be selfish. Remember that you are worth more than sacrificing yourself for these people who really aren't going to change your life anyways. For the better, that is. You know, they're not going to change your life for the better. Most likely, they'll just have a front seat ride for whatever agenda is going to happen anyways. And they'll basically be the orator that lets us know how fucked we are when we are fucked. So, that being said, there is some merit, I guess, in the thought of maybe if we could get more parties to have a fair shot in the elections, to get adequate media coverage and all of that. Like maybe if we had more parties involved, like there would be more of a shot to get somebody in office that actually gives a fuck about us and who can actually change the world. But then you have, even if you get somebody in there that wants to change the world, look what happened to JFK. Like his rich dad put him in office because he thought he was going to follow the agenda, but he didn't. He didn't bomb the shit out of Cuba, and he was attempting to pass an executive decision they said it was on his desk to nationalize the banking system and to abolish the Federal Reserve. Okay, that's the reason why he died. Okay, because the economic system is the basis for the control over us, and he was going to change that and put the power back into the people's hands, back into the state's hands, produce their own currency. People say, every state can't produce their own currency. There'd be too much chaos. Like, you wouldn't be able to use it from state to state. Listen, every state can print their own currency and have their own rates, and they can translate to a different rate in a different state. And each state could agree to put some sort of marking on their currency that is recognizable in all 50 states. So you could go to they could create offices in each state to where you could go to transfer your currency into that state's currency, and it could definitely happen. Okay, if the IRS can do their thing the way they do their thing, how complicated they fucking are to fuck you over, then we could do this. So neither of these candidates are promising to make that change. Neither of them are willing to really put their necks out on the line to make that change. So they're probably really never gonna, make any change that's really gonna benefit the progress of the average person in this world or in this country. And I say in this world because it seems like we have so much influence over other cultures these days that this could be affecting other countries as well. Like, we shouldn't just think so singularly minded to think that other countries aren't being adverted, or maybe there's things going on in their countries that they could worry about more greatly, but they're watching our stupid ass fucking soap opera election over here. So, but anyway, and people that are voting for Trump are saying it's a revolution and people have been so trained to think that the word revolution automatically means like a regime change, like a change for the better. A revolution is a 360-degree turn. It's a full turn back to the starting point. Back to a starting point, to a time before you were alive that you don't know about, was probably fucked just as much as it's fucked today. Okay, so revolution does not mean what you've been programmed to think it means. It means it's a 360-degree turn, not a 180-degree turn. 180 degrees would be what we would want, right? We need to come up with a term for that and do that, right? But, I don't have all the answers, but I do know that if we go at Trump, that it's not going to lead us to where we want to be either, that we're going to go full circle back into something that was a way to control us probably, be a generation or two before we were alive. I don't know, man. I don't fucking trust it. The term revolution is used to trigger an emotional response out of people, just like terms like conspiracy theorist and stuff like that. So anyways, already been 45 minutes just me rambling to you guys. It's been pretty awesome. I love hanging out with you guys. This is really cathartic for me. This is just one way I'm going to creatively express myself to bring you guys entertaining and knowledgeable content. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please go to YouTube and go to Critically Creative Entertainment. Once we get 100 subscribers, I'll be able to put a custom URL on there So you might have a hard time finding me. So an easier way to find me is just to go to SoundCloud and search Critically Creative Entertainment there. It comes up much more easily there. And then all the links to my YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook are right there. And you can follow, subscribe, and like me in all of those places there. And that'll help me greatly. Also, subscribe to Fight Shark on YouTube. And going to continue to produce an episode of Then and Now Today. It takes a lot to produce something like that. So still working on that. Thank you guys for all of your support. You guys have a wonderful day. It's been nice talking to you, and stay safe out there. Could be a crazy one. Take care.